Hello, I'm Jenny Luscombe and I'm making this video today because I'm starting to train people how to use muscle testing. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. So learning to use muscle testing helps us to self-heal. So it's one of the forms of self-healing that I teach. Basically, this is an amazing way to be your own guru, to learn to communicate with your own body and with your subconscious mind, which is kind of the same thing really. So for myself, doing this work on repeat for about 11 years now, it's enabled me to move closer and closer to the life that I've been looking for, because it's helped me to shed trapped emotion, depression and anxiety, weight, PTSD symptoms, chronic physical pain, autoimmune issues, aging and limiting beliefs, a boatload of them. So that's quite a lot. Now, all of this was being held subconsciously in my body, and it was keeping me stuck, and it was the obstacle that was preventing me from moving forward. So, before I go into the muscle testing, all of the roots of negative emotion and physical issues and negative life events and circumstances, it's all held in your body subconsciously. So that's basically like an archive, which is cellular in the cells of your body. This is not evidently visible at first, which is the whole point. You put it somewhere where you couldn't see it, because at the time you couldn't handle it. So it's not wrong or bad to do that, it's just what we do, and nobody taught us not to. So accessing the subconscious mind and revealing these inner truths, it seems hard to do, because that's not what we've been taught, but actually it's quite easy. I can teach you how to unlearn this disempowerment, like I did. So you can heal with energy, and energy is just emotion. So it's actually easier than you think. Muscle testing is a skill that you can get better and better at. The more you do it, the more you trust yourself, and the more accurate you get. So in order to feel better, we need to get better at feeling, and surfacing and identifying all of this stuff is a good way to do that. And some people prefer that to talking and contemplating. So you can actually just use your body to go directly there. It's just another way in. So our avoidance is basically the thing that's keeping us stuck, and we do try to jump over stuff. That's just human nature, but it never works. So I'm teaching you to no longer run away from yourself, and to honour, to see, to hear, to feel, to sense and value your thoughts, feelings, beliefs and emotions. So most of us think that if we turn and face all of this stuff, that we will be somehow kind of reinforcing it or making it get bigger, and actually the opposite happens. We think that we'll make our symptoms worse, that our situations will get worse, but actually the opposite happens. So it's incorrect. We've been misled. This isn't how emotion works. So there's actually a very surprising effect that happens when you actually turn and face the emotion. So when you finally come out of denial and you look at what your subconscious and your life is presenting you with, and then you identify the roots of that, and you can sit with it, you can release it and then sit with it. There's lots of different ways. Your life changes dramatically. So despite what you might believe, facing the negative emotion instead of avoiding it, it's a temporary discomfort, and it's actually the gateway to your freedom. So muscle testing is one of the tools that we can use, which is the most powerful gateway to your subconscious. And I kind of see it like a gateway to other forms of energy work, for example, like quantum healing. It opens you up. So if you continue to avoid to look at all this stuff, then you're basically signing on the dotted line. You're arranging for that to follow you around forever. And who needs that really? Now your subconscious mind, it's not kind of like deliberately trying to mess you up. It loves you. And that's why it's giving you symptoms, because the symptoms are the message that it is requiring you to look at. If you don't look, they'll get bigger. And then if you still don't look, they'll get bigger. And that's how it works. It's unfortunate, but the sooner we get the message, the better. So your subconscious loves you, and it knows that facing this stuff is the way out, so it will just keep sending you the messages. It's the only way that your body, your subconscious, has of communicating with you, and that's why it's happening. Until you choose to engage with it with your free will, it will keep happening. It's brutal, but it's true. So negative emotion and limiting belief systems, it was always meant to be a temporary experience, designed perfectly for us to move through, not jump over, not go around, not go under it, through. So when we actually go through it, it enables our evolution, which sounds a bit dramatic, but that's what happens. It enables our potential, and it's amazing. So if you don't do this, then you're basically making this permanent. It's like if you think the same thought often enough, it becomes permanent in your body as disease or as some kind of symptom. Everything is energy, everything. So we don't want to make it permanent in our body and mind. We don't want the symptoms that happen as a result of that. By not addressing and not expressing all of this stuff, we're creating problems for ourselves. So we don't want to make it permanent. We want it to be a temporary experience that we're moving through, and then things speed up and then we get into the flow. So muscle testing is one of the most effective and powerful inner work processes that I found over the years. I've tried and tested it on myself. It took me a while to fully trust myself, but that's the same as like learning any skill. I've tested it on myself, on my daughter, on my clients. Basically, it's a way of enabling the conversation between you and your body to get started. Your body is an archive. Your body knows the score. Your body knows your truth. It knows, it remembers the roots to everything that is occurring in your life. It knows when that first started, and it knows what you have to do and what you have to know in order for that to be alleviated and to start to move. So all you have to do is ask. So you can learn to use this skill to communicate with your body, and basically there's lots of different ways of doing it, and everyone has a personal preference. So we can facilitate a yes or a no response. This clarifies exactly what is going on underneath your symptoms, and you can actually develop your question asking as well. Like, you can get really creative with it, because your body can't actually answer a question that isn't a yes/no question, but you can get clues by listening to your intuition, and you can kind of go around subjects. You can twist it. You can, as long as the answer to any question would be yes or no, you can get an answer, and you can trust it. So you can communicate with your body. You can facilitate a yes or a no. So this clarifies exactly what's going on. So we often remain unaware of what's blocking us because a long time ago we suppressed that information in order to stay safe, because it was stressful for us. So we're now no longer in that old story. It's time to be free of it. So you can start to tell the new story of your life. So some know muscle testing as kinesiology. Sometimes people douse with rods. Sometimes people use a pendulum. I prefer the sway test. The sway test is like a full body test where basically yes is a forward sway, no is a backward sway, but there's loads of different ways to do it with your fingers, tons. So there'll be 1 or 2 ways that will suit you for sure. So when we get yes/no answers, it brings awareness, and awareness is what healing is. A lot of people overcomplicate healing. All it is awareness, as opposed to not knowing. So we find out what we didn't know that we didn't know. So we suppressed all that stuff. That's why it's invisible. We suppressed it because it wasn't safe for us to understand or face at the time. So now we're no longer in that old story. It's time to be free of it, so you can start to tell the new story of your life. So I trained to use muscle testing with the emotion code, but there are an infinite number of other ways to harness the power of this. It's a holistic approach. basically what you're doing is you're measuring the motor response of your central nervous system to the questions. And for example, with the sway test, it makes sense that when something that's happening is affirmative, it's a positive, it's a yes, you're going to move towards that. If it's a no, you're going to kind of recoil and retract from that. So your body just reflects how you feel. It's as simple as that. So by doing this, identifying and then intentionally healing the results that you get, emotional and physical imbalances can be determined. You can use loads of different methods to rebalance your body. There are a boatload of alternative therapists using different ways. So I use it for millions of different ways, but mainly because I know that emotion is the most powerful way to acknowledge what's gone on for you. I use it to specifically ask the natural intelligence of your body whether there is trapped emotion being held in the cells, causing you or myself, the client, to attract their emotional, mental, physical symptoms and negative life events. And it can be as simple as what somebody said. When that person said something to piss you off, did you have trapped emotion that caused you to attract that? Or, there's millions of different ways. So this could be trapped emotion from, the root of it can be in your early years. It could be ancestrally inherited from your mum or your dad's side. It could also be prenatally absorbed from when you were the baby in the womb and your mum was experiencing something and you were floating in her liquid. That's a really powerful release. Sometimes it's past life emotion if you're open to that. Sometimes it's all four, and more often than not it is all four, so it's always worth asking. So basically I can teach you how to learn to receive information from your body, to surface it, to heal it, to bring awareness to it, and to release your blocks. So I also combine this with much wisdom that has come to me over the years, my research into spirituality and energy work, and my skills in facilitating healing with EFT and quantumly. I can teach you exactly how to learn to muscle test and to ask the right questions for you to enable you to surface and heal and release your blocks to moving forward in all of the following ways. So you can use it for optimizing decision making, so helping you to discern which path is for your highest good, this way, or maybe a way that you hadn't thought of. You can also use it for increasing your trust in yourself, strengthening your sovereignty, your personal power and autonomy. It brings you a lot of personal power. And obviously, as I've said, you get to identify and release the 4 different types of trapped emotion. You can also ask about thought patterns that you seem to be stuck in, repeating patterns that you seem to be stuck in, behavioural patterns, limiting beliefs. You can ask, is there something emotional underneath my physical pain or underneath my arthritis or, whatever it is. You can also proactively go into your energy and you can ask questions, for example, where you can ask, do I have barriers? Are there emotional barriers to love and relationship? Do I have something trapped which is causing me to always attract the same guy, the same type of man? So you can be, it's beautiful because you can be proactive. You can deal with what's already there, but you can also deal with looking into the future and seeing things that coming that might not be what you're looking for. And so you can preempt catastrophe, and you can ask, do I have any trapped emotion that would cause such and such to occur? Which is so powerful. You literally become a ninja. So blocks to love, connection, relationship, blocks to anything, blocks to getting the right job, blocks to moving forward with my projects and all of this. You can directly address traumatic events that have happened to you, asking, what's there that I could clear. You can make sense of the effects that thing happened, caused in your life. You can identify and integrate hidden selves, like hidden parts of you that might be acting as saboteurs. You can preempt and pull the plug on difficulties and fears and catastrophes that you're perceiving coming, as I've already said. You can ask questions to establish whether you have trapped emotion or energy, trauma, belief systems that are causing you to think obsessively about something, for example, which then you might worry that you're going to manifest that outcome if you're constantly thinking about it. Also, if you're open, there are like millions of other different ways that we can be blocking ourselves and not know. For example, you can identify energy blockers like psychological reversal, codependent relationship cords, contracts that are no longer relevant that you might have made with yourself or other people, shadow parasites, negative implants, curses, negative energy. A lot of people are not open to that, but it's amazing to identify them if you are open to that. You can learn so much about why the things are happening to you. So I learned during my training that the only thing that you can't necessarily gain accurate access to and figuring out is actually the future. We can't ask about the future because we're creating it, and so are lots of other people. So you can't get accuracy about that. So the only way to move into your best future is to learn skills like muscle testing. I mean, why not? Like, once you have got that superpower, it's hard to imagine what life was like without it, to be honest. Yeah, so the only way to move into your best future is to learn this skill and to learn other skills that kind of come at energy a different way. So I can teach you one-to-one how to do this, because everyone is so different, and what's right for one person isn't necessarily right for another. We've all got different skills and abilities and ways that we can harness, actually, and I can help to recognise that and lead you in the right direction to save you time and energy. So I can teach you one-to-one how to use this self-help inner work process of muscle testing. I can guide you towards the best uses and questioning for you, to enable you to maximise the most massive potential available to you here, and it is massive. So to book a training session to learn to muscle test with me and to discover what this opens up for you, have a look at the link below. If you want to ask any questions, feel free to get in touch with me on my contact page, and we can have a chat on the phone, or exchange some emails, and I can do a little consultation for you. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye.